All right, everybody, thanks for joining in. We are continuing our exploitation series. I mean, we're not really doing a series of it, but we've done a few exploitation movies in the past. And I don't know if anybody outside of us is really classifying this as an exploitation movie, but this movie is a straight up exploitation movie. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think it is an exploitation movie because it does have that. I mean, obviously, Dirty Harry has become like a cultural phenomenon, but at the same time, it's like this is definitely like a gritty 70s exploitation movie, no doubt about it.
So Mark just shot his load early there.
Oh,
and
I revealed the movie.
We're talking about 1971's Dirty Harry this episode.
Wait, was it 1971?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, when I first looked that up, I was like, "Holy crap!"
I did not know that. I didn't know. I thought it was
How
more
does
like
Clint Eastwood look like he's 55 in 1971?
That's funny. How weird. Well, I know he was in like some 50s movies too when he was younger, like black and white 50s films. He was in like one of those sci-fi movies that they show in Svengoolie. I can't think of the name of it, but black and white, I think he was like in his 20s back then. So yeah, he's been around a long time.
I wonder, is Clint Eastwood, is he like, who were we talking? Oh, Jodie Foster, when we were talking about the Silence of the Lambs episode, where it's just they're just one of those people where they don't necessarily look old. Like if you didn't know who Clint Eastwood was and you watch this movie, you'd be like, oh yeah, that guy's like whatever, 30 years old. But for some odd reason, anytime I see like Clint Eastwood, and the same thing with Jodie Foster, I always think of like this like 55-year-old person, even though I don't know why that is, but it's just weird.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying with that. Yeah, the two of them, they've been around forever. Both
yeah,
of them.
I think that's what it is. Even when I watched Taxi Driver a couple weeks ago, or last week or something, and I mean, Jodie Foster's like 13 in that movie, and I was like, I don't know why it is. She looks like an old woman to me.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Do you remember the first time you saw it?
I don't. I mean, I know I've seen it more than when I first watched it, because I mean, there wasn't anything I was like, whoa! I don't remember seeing it when I was younger.
Okay. But yeah, I was, for me, it was one of those films that I don't think I saw the unedited version for a long time. I don't even remember seeing that, but I do remember it coming on whatever network TV, and I did record it on Betamax. So I did have my, TV copy of it that I used to watch religiously. I wonder if you watched it with me at one time.
I was going to say, as soon as you said edited or whatever, that I was like, oh, you know what? I bet I've seen this on USA or TNT or whatever. Or, hell, I probably watched it in Mark's house 1,000 times.
Yeah, this was one. I don't know, for whatever reason, this was one of those movies as a kid that I got hooked on, and I used to watch it constantly. It was I think it was, again, going back to my mom, she introduced me to a lot of 70s movies. She was in college around that time, I believe. And so, I got like, a lot of the stuff that came out in the 70s is really kind of, iconic. And Dirty Harry, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Rocky, Halloween, all those films. And
Black
I remember
Christmas.
Not that one though, but yeah, I remember. I'm pretty sure I had a edited version, and I think I saw the unedited version way later on in life, and was kind of cool to see it because there's a lot of stuff I didn't see like in the cut versions.
Well, I will say the one thing that I always do when I'm watching a movie with the purpose of reviewing it on this show, which I know you guys are like, you guys don't review movies. Yeah, we know we really don't review movies half the time. But one of the things that I've really been trying to do is have a notebook with me and take some notes during the movie. And I usually end up filling a whole page of a notebook. I mean, it's like just your standard notebook that you'd had like in high school or whatever. And for this particular movie, I wrote down Dirty Harry in 1971, and then I actually didn't write any notes throughout the entire movie because this movie is one of those movies that sucks you in like from the get-go, and until the credits started rolling, like I was like just locked onto the screen and locked onto the story.
Nice.
Even though it's an exploitation movie, and it's not like a great movie, but it's a pretty good action movie considering that it came from 1971. And I mean, this was the birth of Dirty Harry of all things.
Yeah. And, kind of like that bad cop, I think of like what we reviewed Cobra, and this is kind of like, if you look at, the sort of the template for, the bad cop movie where like, the cop who kind of takes the law in his own hands. I think Dirty Harry is probably the one that kind of started that, and strangely enough, Cobra and Dirty Harry, the same actor, the actor who plays the bad guy, the villain in Dirty Harry, is also the police officer in Cobra. Just kind of a funny little connection there. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, I think one of the reasons I love this movie so much is they make the bad guy extremely bad. Like, you really hate this guy. I mean, he just does the worst things ever. Like when he rapes this girl, sticks her in a well, and it's like, teenage girl. He does things that, like, you want Dirty Harry to, like, do things to him. You're, like, hoping, you can't wait for, like, that, like, Dirty Harry to get this guy. And that's one thing I think, like, in a lot of movies, at least, a lot of movies, from my perspective, modern movies, it seems like the bad guys don't always seem as bad as they should be. Like, you really want to root for, like, the good guy coming in and, taking care of business. And that's kind of, I think, one of the reasons why I like that last Rambo movie so much was, he makes these, sex trafficking people so terrible that you just can't wait to see what he does to them. And it's kind of the same thing with Dirty Harry is, this guy is such a sicko that you're just like, you don't really feel bad when, you see things happen to him.
One of the things that happens a lot in movies, not a lot, but happens occasionally in movies that probably actually happens less in real life. I mean, I'm a true crime fan myself, and a lot of times you hear about all these wrongful convictions throughout. And one of the things that really pisses you off in movies like Dirty Harry is where the straight cops or the good cops are like, "Oh, Harry, we gotta let this guy go."
Yeah.
Technicality. And you're like, right. The guy's a murderer. Come on, that would never happen in real life.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Nuts.
That's kind of the gist of this story, really, is just where, it's about like how the legal system is, there's these legal things in the law where somebody can kind of get away with things if things aren't followed correctly, and that's, Dirty Harry is the epitome of the rogue cop who goes out and does things on his own. I think one of the most powerful scenes in this film is when he finds where the killer's lair. This killer, if you haven't seen the movie, he's basically, he's going up on rooftops with a sniper rifle and, knocking people out just for the hell of it. And then he's, putting up like, he's basically trying to blackmail the police department, saying, "Hey, if you don't pay me such amount of money, I'm going to go and kill this person next," or whatever. And so anyhow, Dirty Harry finds out where this guy's living, and that scene in the stadium is great, where he shoots the guy in the leg, and then he's like goes in there and steps on his leg, and that's how he finds out where the girl's body is. But it's like, the whole like that was a pretty brutal scene. I would imagine that was probably very brutal for 1971.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's always funny when you see these movies. Well, and this is a thing that I said when we were watching this the other day, because I watched this with my wife and my youngest daughter were in the room, and I put it on, And, Clint Eastwood is in the movie, and it goes back to what I was saying earlier, like, oh, he looks like an old man. And then I was like, this movie is almost 50 years old.
Crazy.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, I know. But, yeah, it's weird when you watch these old movies, like this one and another one that we don't really care about, but The Exorcist, which has this like whole reputation for being like so over the top when it came out and stuff, is, now when stuff comes out and it is over the top, or it causes a scene or whatever, we get to experience that. We get to see the media coverage of it or whatever. I wonder what that was like in like 71 when a movie like this came out. What were some of the other movies that were coming out? I don't know, but there were other movies that were probably just as bad of this, if not worse, I would assume. But yeah, when you see stuff like this, it's like, man, I just wonder what it would have been like to see this in a theater in 71. And just to sit there and just like watch the audience.
Yeah, and it's interesting too that, Clint Eastwood obviously had a reputation as the Western guy in all those spaghetti Westerns back in, what was that, probably the 60s. And, he was, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly series and all of that. And, he's doing that. And then all of a sudden, he pops up in this early 70s, yeah, like you said, exploitation movie. I wonder if it was kind of like one of those things where I guess I don't know enough about his career to know where he was at that point, where like, when he transitioned into this, because does this seem like a mainstream, like Hollywood big blockbuster movie, or did it seems more like like we said, like kind of low underground, but even though it's not, because it was a big studio that backed it, I believe. But it has that feel to it, that very gritty 70s almost Grindhouse, but but it's done better than Grindhouse. It's not like it's not a B movie in any way. You know what I mean?
Right. And I don't know. We talked about Death Wish not too long ago.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say is like, if you compare this to Death Wish really feels like a B movie. It feels like shitty acting, bad directing. It's like a bad script. It's just a exploitation movie, and it's at its core that's all it is. It's not like it's a classic for what it is, but it's not like a great movie. Whereas Dirty Harry is a bit more. It's a better made film. Like the acting's better, the script is better, the production is better. Even though it's gritty, it just seems more competently filmed.
Well, what I was going to say is both of those spawned a ton of sequels.
Yeah, they did.
I think Death Wish has Dirty Harry beat out, I think, because I think there's only like 4 Dirty Harry movies.
Oh, well, let me think. Like, there's Dirty Harry, Magnum Force, The Enforcer, Sudden Impact, Deadpool.
Yep.
So I think there's 5 of them, right?
Yeah. So yeah, 5 of them. And how many was there? Well, was there only 5?
There may have been 5, 5 or 6. I don't remember. I haven't kept up with Death Wish.
When the Deadpool came out, and when we were like whatever 11 or 12 or whatever when that.
Oh yeah.
But that was a huge deal.
Yeah, it was. It was massive. And it's funny because I remember my family and we saw it at the theater when it came out, and I remember we all kind of made the comment when you saw Clint Eastwood, like, damn, he's pretty old to be playing this role. And like you think back now, it's like you go now to you look at that last Rambo movie that came out last year, and it's like, wow, it's like kind of the same deal, maybe even more so now, because Stallone's probably older in that Rambo than Clint Eastwood was back then.
Oh, well, I'm sure, because I think, well, Clint Eastwood's still alive, but
he's like 90 something now, isn't he?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not even sure how old he is, but I mean, Stallone is what, like 70,
73-ish?
Yeah. And the guy's in better shape than either one of us.
I know, it's crazy. I guess that's what being rich will do to you.
Oh man. He posts stuff on his Instagram page like all the time, and it's just funny as hell. Like, and he's still out there. Like, you can tell he's an older man, but he's like all tanned and stuff, and his hair now is all white because of that movie that he was shooting before the whole lockdown went into effect.
Oh, Stallone, yeah.
And but he's all like tan, but he's wrinkly and stuff. But you can tell he had like plastic surgery and stuff done, but he's still like ripped and stuff, and you're like
crazy.
Like, oh man. But the guy actually he's one of the, I mean, I know you're a huge Stallone guy, I am too. But every time I see Stallone, it's just like, man, I want to fucking hang out with that guy so bad.
Yeah, he's my childhood hero. Clint Eastwood, 89 years old.
89. Wow.
Wow. Crazy. So how old was he then? So 89, 71 you said was Dirty Harry. So
yeah, so I guess he would have been like 40 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Wow. Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Oh man. Yeah, because even my youngest daughter at first, when I was like, "Hey, he's still alive," and she's like, "What?" And then I was like, "That's Clint Eastwood," and she was like, "Oh, that crazy old man." I was like, "Yeah."
Did she get to watch Dirty Harry?
I think she watched she sat in the room while most of it played.
Oh, okay.
She was playing on her phone. Her and my wife both are like huge into TikTok. That's what they've taken up during the quarantine.
Okay.
So they just both sit there and look at their phones for hours and hours and hours, and like every couple of minutes you hear one of them be like, "Oh!" It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's weird with like Clint Eastwood. He is one of those guys that outside of the Dirty Harry stuff, I don't think that this is too far stretched at all, but I mean, he's almost kind of like a John Wayne kind of a character where you get to a certain point and, you know, there's something, even though you might not personally like the guy, or, I mean, like we said, he's 89 or whatever now. And, you know, the guy's kind of nutsy now. And, you know, whenever he gets out in public, you're kind of like, oh, what? What's he talking about? But it's kind of like John Wayne, or if you look on the music side of stuff, it's like the Beatles or Elvis, where a lot of people are like, oh, fuck that guy. I don't like that guy. But at the same time, you're like, I bet you like something that he's in. Clint Eastwood is one of those guys where you can look back and, you know, maybe you don't like Dirty Harry, but, you know, like all of his Western stuff, maybe there's something there you like, or
oh yeah, yeah, actually,
other stuff. You know, all of the stuff he like directed and stuff.
When a couple of years ago, or was it last year? I can't remember. I went back and revisited some of his old westerns that I never saw, like The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and some of those in that series, and some really pretty interesting stuff there. Some good materials. I mean, especially westerns. But yeah, he's done a lot of good stuff, like The Unforgiven. That was more later on in his career. He's done some. What was that one with John Malkovich? That was a real good one too. Where he In the Line of Fire. That was a good film. And yeah, he's got a lot under his belt. Real good resume. But yeah, Dirty Harry to me for Clint Eastwood has always been my favorite. I love that film, that original film. And to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the series. The next two weren't that good. I did kind of like Sudden Impact. Didn't like the Deadpool, and it's still just not my thing. But the original film was just, to me, is one of his best films ever. And I love that film, and it's one that I'll probably, if you were to ask me, like, what's your favorite Dirty Harry movie, I would instantly say or what was your favorite Clint Eastwood movie? I would say instantly Dirty Harry. Oh, okay. That's number one for me.
Yeah, I always remember with Clint Eastwood is me and my brother and my parents and I think my grandparents, and then it might have even been more people in my family, but there was I know it was at least the six of us that went and saw The Unforgiven, like on opening weekend when it came out.
Oh, really?
Because my grandparents they were older. They're dead now, but, you know, they were like huge Clint Eastwood fans because of his Westerns. And it was like, he's in a Western. Let's go see it. And so, and whenever that was, when was that? It was like 90 or 90. one or
early 90s. Yeah.
something like that.
Somewhere
But I
on
remember
there.
going to see
Yeah.
or no, I take that back. It wasn't The Unforgiven. It was the one before that, Pale Rider. But yeah, that was a good movie. And yeah, I mean, he would have been damn near whatever, 55, something like that. So he was probably the same age as, or close to the same age as my grandparents.
I see. Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm the same with you. I mean, he's made some good movies throughout the years, and especially now that he's like kind of behind the camera more. I mean, $1 Million Baby, that was actually, I mean, it's one of those movies you see probably once, but you see it once and you're like, it's a good goddamn movie. Gran Torino.
Did you see The Mule?
No, I did not see that one.
Okay. Yeah, that was, I think, one of his more recent ones. I watched that a couple of years ago, or last year, one of the two.
But yeah,
that was pretty decent. I mean, everything he does, he's good in, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and with Dirty Harry, I'm going to give it a huge, massive thumbs up. It's probably one of my, if you wanted to say exploitation film, if you want to categorize it as that, I would say it is definitely one of the best exploitation films ever made. It's really, really well done, very competently filmed, great story, great acting. Love it. So I'm going to go giant thumbs up.
I'll follow that up with I don't know if I'll give it a giant thumbs up, but I'll give it a pretty big thumbs up. Yeah, it's definitely a good movie. And it's not something that you're going to, if you're wanting to watch like an Oscar-worthy movie, maybe look up something else of Clint Eastwood's. But if you're just looking for a good, cop exploitation movie, this is the one to watch. I mean, and it's good too. I mean, if you've never seen it, see it. I don't think we really gave anything away for it, really. So,
no, not really.
But yeah, check it out for sure.
Absolutely.